We could do whatever we want. We could take something, we could just say, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this thing, and I don't care if it's good, and I don't care if it's even factually correct, because I'm postmodern, and I don't care anymore. This is a grilled cheese sandwich. The grilled cheese sandwich is a marvel. It's able to minimize cost while maximizing familiarity. It's both affordable and comfortable. That makes it cheap and good. But what if you invert this relationship? What if you maximize the cost while minimizing the familiarity? Then it becomes exclusive and novel. Does that also make it expensive and bad? Unfortunately, this will always be a thought experiment, because who in their right mind would make an uncomfortable, unfamiliar, exclusive, expensive grilled cheese sandwich? Doesn't that defeat the whole purpose? That would be ridiculous. Nobody would do that. So I thought. As it turns out, this restaurant in San Francisco, south of Market District, across the street from the Academy of Art University, is absolutely filled with hipsters that specializes in exactly that thing. Novel, expensive grilled cheese sandwiches. And you know what? They're great. So I'm sitting there, and I'm eating one, and there's macaroni and cheese on the sandwich. But I had the same thought that any red-blooded American would have when confronted with such a travesty. Who do I blame for this? Back in the 1800s, a bunch of linguists got together and they said, you know, we should just start studying the relationship between what the word is and what the word means, because apparently words have meanings. Because, you know, everything has meaning. So then they came around and they said, all right, philosophers, we're done with this idea. You could have it now. The philosophers turned around and said, you know what, we're going to make an entire system of thought called structuralism based on this. And the structuralists, they had it right, man. They took American cheese, they put it on white bread, and they slathered it in butter and fried it up. And guess what? They were eating the grilled cheese sandwich correctly. But this depressed dude in the corner named Nietzsche comes around, and he says, you know what, the grilled cheese sandwich, yeah, it doesn't actually have any meaning. He wrote this essay called On Truth and Lies in a Non-Moral Sense, where he basically said that there is no objective truth, there is no objective meaning, there's nothing of any inherent value. The way Nietzsche ate his grilled cheese sandwich is he was like just too depressed to do that. He just didn't eat because he was sad. Everybody's starting to get really into nihilism because, again, the edgy teen sad boy fanboys are really spreading this idea around. So the surrealists come around, and the surrealists basically say, you know what, check it out, man. I think you should look at the grilled cheese sandwich differently. It doesn't actually have to be white bread with melted cheese inside. What if it's cheese with melted white bread inside of that? And the surrealists are over there and they're eating their grilled cheese sandwich absolutely wrong. And I don't even know how they melted their bread, but they they figured it out. And the surrealists, they were pretty cool. Everybody kind of liked the surrealists, except for this one dude, George Bataille. And the way George Bataille ate a grilled cheese sandwich is he actually took it and he squished it up into a little ball and he probably shoved it up some girl's ass. I mentioned putting grilled cheese sandwiches up somebody's butt, and I can't stop laughing now. Whatever. Basically, Bataille said that we could reduce everything to its base material before we squish it up into a little ball and shove it up some chick's ass. God, I can't. And he took this idea and he put it into literature for some reason, and his literature is absolutely disgusting. And he handed it off to other philosophers, and the other philosophers, they absolutely just took it and ran with it. So then you get dudes like Michel Foucault, who basically said, you know what, the surrealists and Bataille are actually right, and we should start looking at things differently, and we should start, Michel Foucault was an absolute Chad, and his buddy, by the way, Jacques Derrida, was also just an absolute Chad. When you look at these dudes, they look sick. That's how you know that the philosophy that they created, which is post-structuralism and deconstruction, which are, different brands of the same thing, they are correct, because when a Chad speaks, everybody listens. So now the linguistic philosophers have come up with something really cool, this post-structural idea that you can actually use different ingredients in a grilled cheese sandwich. It doesn't have to be white bread and American cheese. And everybody loves it. Everybody starts using it. Everybody goes off the rails with it. It's awesome. It's the newest thing. It's the best thing since sliced bread, even though it actually incorporates sliced bread. Now, when everybody starts using it, this creates a problem. And these dudes come around and they're like, you know what, we're going to start actually critiquing people's grilled cheese sandwiches. And they start going from restaurant to restaurant. And in in actual terms, they start going from book to book and telling them whether or not these books are good or bad. But for this analogy, it's a grilled cheese sandwich. So these dudes, they start going around and telling people whether or not their grilled cheese sandwich is good or bad. And these dudes are called the new critics. Now we're talking about 1960s, 1970s. And the new critics, they basically say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to base our criticism on whether or not you adhere to the basic fundamental structure of a grilled cheese sandwich. And everybody's like, okay, that kind of sounds cool. And they said, well, that doesn't use white bread and that doesn't use American cheese, therefore it's bad. And they never said it out loud, but the general consensus of why they're doing this is they are rebelling against the fact that thanks to the linguistic philosophy of post-structuralism, racial hierarchy and gender hierarchy is starting to break down. And now that black people and women are making grilled cheese sandwiches, now they have to start going around and tell everybody that it's bad. And that's like general academic discourse surrounding new criticism. That's not even me being incredibly biased. That's just the general consensus among academic circles. New criticism is inherently racist and inherently sexist. So now, thanks to the new critics' adherence to the Eurocentricity of the literary canon, or in this case, the Eurocentricity of the grilled cheese canon, people are starting to get really uncomfortable with the idea of other people judging what they're creating. So they rebel even harder, and they're like, how do we rebel against new criticism? Well, new criticism is essentially just the terrible, awful form of structuralism. And they say, all right, well, check it out. We'll do post-structuralism and we'll do deconstruction again. But this time when we do post-structuralism and deconstruction, we're doing it in direct rebellion against this terrible, awful thing. So we're going to do it harder. So all of these new post-structuralists and deconstructionists that are like rebelling, they said, you know what, we're gonna actually use structuralism against structuralism, which is like a theme in post-structuralism. And they say, you know what, check it out. If you want your grilled cheese sandwich to be nothing but American cheese and white bread, we're gonna take it and we're gonna use moldy white bread and moldy cheese, and we're gonna shove it in your face, and because it adheres to your standard, it is gonna be good, and you're gonna have to give me 3 Michelin stars, and I'm gonna be able to charge however much I want for moldy white bread and moldy cheese. These dudes are doing everything ironically, and they become collectively known as like ironists. So after a while, everybody just gets super sick and tired of like eating moldy crap because it's bad. It's like it's objectively bad. You know, so every now and then somebody does something sarcastically and it ends up really good. But mostly when you're doing something sarcastically and as a form of rebellion, it's bad. So they take this idea, they take all this crap, and this idea of post-irony comes out. And what post-irony is we're gonna take these terrible things that we're making now that's made out of like mold and mold. We're just mold, and we're gonna rebel even harder against the thing that we're originally rebelling against, and we're going to use the absolute highest possible ingredients. I'm talking homemade cheese and artisan bread. And this is post-irony, and post-irony starts creating insane contraptions. A big reason that the post-ironists are allowed to create these insane contraptions that are actually pretty good is a little while before them, there was this dude named Albert Camus, and Camus said, you know what, check it out, I got this brilliant idea. What if we push a rock up a hill? It's art, get it? And this dude basically says, no, you know what, I'm a post-structuralist, I'm a deconstructionist, I'm a nihilist first and foremost, I'm a surrealist as well, so I'm going to do whatever I want because nothing has any meaning, and it's going to make me really happy. You know, like pushing a rock up a hill or just frying grilled cheese sandwiches and throwing them in the garbage. People are like, Albert Camus, why do you keep frying those grilled cheese sandwiches and throwing them in the garbage? Isn't that like a waste of your time and energy? And Camus is like, you know what, check it out. It makes me happy. So Camus created absurdism in the background of all of this going on, but the post-ironists are over here doing their thing. So at this point, you've got all these conflicting ideologies and so many people rebelling against each other and so much like destroying of general ideas and creating new ideas in their place that we actually enter an entirely new literary era. And this new literary era is called postmodernism. Postmodernism is what we're living in now. In fact, postmodernism has been going on for so long, and it's changed so much and so rapidly because everybody just keeps creating a new philosophy, giving it to the literature, so literatures give it to the rest of the culture, and then the the culture takes it and they run with it, and then some random hipster from the Academy of Art University takes this postmodern idea that has just been created and he shoves it into a grilled cheese sandwich. And that's why when you look at it from the history of like Saussure and Levi Strauss all the way to nihilism, right? And then from nihilism to surrealism, post-structuralism, deconstructionism, absurdism, and all of these other craps, all the way to new criticism into the new ironic movement, the post-ironic movement, and they start doing everything sarcastically. Now you've got dudes from Academy of Art University who are postmodern, and they're just like doing whatever they want because they can now. And they say, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a grilled cheese sandwich, and I'm going to put it on the grill, and I'm going to add macaroni and cheese on top and bacon. Everybody's going to love it, and I'm going to charge $13.50 for it. Then you give it to some kid, and this kid is like, I don't understand. And he goes to college, and this kid, he studies all of this crap, critical theory and literature, and he starts making YouTube videos. And the YouTube videos don't have to be good, and they don't even have to be serious, because again, we're postmodern, we're post-ironic, we can do whatever we want. We could take something, we could just say, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this thing, and I don't care if it's good, and I don't care if it's even factually correct, because I'm postmodern and I don't care anymore.